Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Pursuit of Myself. This episode will be airing, I think, on the 18th of February, which will be the second day of the fire horse and in the new lunar year, etc., etc. So goodbye, snake. We have transformed. We're moving on. But little I do know about this. I do know one thing, and that is the fire horse is actually about momentum. It's about integrity. It's about making decisions. So if you are still consuming content and not actually stepping into identity-leveled decisions, you are delaying your own expansion. And I know we don't need years and times and astrological things to push us in this direction, but if I'm speaking to you and you are not living your life by design, you are living it by default, then this is your invitation to do something about it. Now, I have another incredible, exciting episode for you today. She is inspiring. She is expansive. She has built businesses in her industry, become an expert. She has such a wealth of knowledge. And if there's something I want to get you to take away from this, it is that the biggest thing that she has done is learnt who she is at that core level. She has strengthened the foundations so that when she wants to move, she moves. When her intuition comes, she moves. When the idea comes, she moves. No second guessing. And why I really wanted to express that here right now is because when you're listening to these guests and listening to me, it can feel like that's them and this is me. But the truth is there's no them. There is just the fact that they have done their work. There is a refinement in knowing who you are. There is a authority in trusting and backing yourself, but there really is no difference. There is no one that hasn't made a big, bold move that hasn't been scared to make it before. And I know this so deeply because all the women I'm working with at the moment inside the Myself Academy, every single one of them would have been afraid to press the yes button. Yes, there is this moment of like, I need and I want to start, but everyone would have had that moment of, oh, should I? But the difference in the people that are actually doing the thing is that they say yes. Inside the academy right now, I have a woman that's just doubled her revenue. I have another that's just launched her second business. The one that she has sat on for years. There are so many things that are happening. There is one that is needing support because she's left a relationship, but she's finally operating out of self-trust instead of survival. And when we operate out of self-trust, we get creative, we get inspired, we get to step into our lives and we actually get to design it and not be reactive to it. When you are in the room with other women, you are holding yourself accountable to the energy of that group. You are holding yourself at a level that you haven't seen yourself operate before, because that is the expansion that happens when we are creating life and businesses that are beyond something that we've already experienced. This is how we collapse time. So this is not about more knowledge or more motivation. This is about learning to lead yourself towards that thing that you know that you desire. So if you are ready to stop circling and start becoming the woman that your next level requires, jump into the link below and book that connection call. I am giving away 4 free 30-minute connection calls to anyone that is serious about working with me, expanding their capacity to hold space for themselves, which is also something that we talk deeply about in this podcast, is how to hold the space of the expansion rather than be afraid of it. So if that is you, what have you got to lose? Let's explore it. Click the link below, book your call, and let's see what the rest of the year could look like for you in your business, in your freedom business, in your life, in your world. That's what we do. Take action. All right, let's get into this episode. Cannot wait. Welcome to the Pursuit of Myself, the podcast. Here we take ownership of our healing. We rewrite the rules, we turn knowledge into wisdom, and we lead our lives with intention. I'm your host, Rain, and it's my mission to empower you to get back into the driver's seat of your life. Today, I'm sitting down with Joni, known as the Facelift Facialist. She's not just running a facial business. She's built a premium fascia-first brand, founded Face Hub Perth, and stepped into global education and mentorship within a highly competitive beauty industry. Her work blends structural technique, breathwork, NLP principles, and nervous system regulation, creating visible results on the outside while working deeply on the inside. In an industry often driven by trends and surface level fixes, built authority by going deeper. But what fascinates me most isn't just what she's built. It's who she's had to become to build it. Because behind the brand is a woman who has repeatedly moved before she felt ready, who has expanded her identity to hold more responsibility, more visibility, and more leadership. But what stands out the most is that she credits nervous system expansion, not hustle, not tactics, as the number one strategy behind her growth. So today we're not just talking about skin. We're talking about courage, identity upgrades, building businesses, moving before certainty, and what it really takes to expand when success is already there. Okay, I'm actually so excited for this because we have sort of been, Instagram friends for a little while now.
I know.
This woman needs to be in my world, a fellow Perth entrepreneur and completely inspiring woman with everything that you've done and built. And for my audience that doesn't know you, can you tell me just a little bit about what makes your approach different to other facialists?
Well, I would say bringing in breath work and nervous system awareness into a space that is usually very aesthetic focused, combining that with my ability to hold a healing space, an empathetic space, and allow women to just feel held, seen, validated, heard, in their humanness. Yeah.
So what actually inspired that? Because that takes you, yes, beyond the traditional practitioner and into this space of holistic sort of wellness and healing and looking at the whole human. What sort of prompted you to get into that space?
Good question. I would say the surface answer is I worked for many years in the spa environment, and I really love the psychology of spa and really learning to think for your client. Like every element of a spa ritual is down to considering how someone is feeling fundamentally and taking them on that journey through ritual. So my passion for that definitely inspired, but what's led me to here now is probably more being a woman in her 40s and having journeyed what that looks like, and just really understanding on a personal level how much women go through and still show up. And I just really wanted to be able to hold space to honor that and support that.
Yeah, and I feel like you're definitely ahead of the curve with this because, with the beauty industry evolving, it seems like, with the Face Hub and everything that you do and the breath work, and it's almost like, coming from a Reiki master, energetics, it's almost like you've founded this completely beautiful holistic approach and blended it in an industry that, like a slap and run industry, the spa industry, like you were just describing it. But you've really brought something new and transformational to the market. I haven't really seen anything like it. And, what inspires me so much is there must have been just this moment that stands out where you're like, okay, I have to do something about this. I have to create something or move in a new direction. Do you remember that moment or anything in the lead up to that?
There's been a few moments, but I taught the beauty therapy diploma. I've worked in the spa world. I've had a love-hate relationship with the beauty industry for over 24 years now. And one thing that stood out to me was I'm a 9. We work intuitively. We work with our hands, and seeing the birth of all these machines come out and promising the world to women. And the thing with the beauty industry is it's kind of a catch-22. It's built to make women feel better about themselves, but the narrative is very much making us feel worse about ourselves. There's always a new machine that's going to lift and tighten and, whatever it may be that it's promising. And I feel like there's a generation of therapists that are being born off the back of these promises. So, they've got long nails and their hair's out, and It's just all about Instagram and, they're wearing watches and bracelets while they're doing facials. And I'm just like, what is this? It doesn't feel client focused at all. And so I guess my mission is to really breed a therapist again that is very client focused and ritual based treatments and holding restorative spaces where women can come and not just feel better. And this is the thing, like, women are so burnt out. The society we live in now is just constant go, go, go. So if someone's going to come for a facial, they're dedicating that time and money to do so. So how can we really give them bang for buck in that space that they're dedicating? And this is what I teach my students. Women aren't just coming for a facial. They're coming for a time to throw everything in the fuck it bucket and come back home to themselves. A machine can't do that for them. But a facialist with awareness and ability to hold space and intuitive touch that's well trained can. And that's essentially what I'm wanting to bring back to this industry.
I love that. Actually, what just sparks is I do see some photos online about, faces that have just had all the machines and the work done on them, but then they're still so unhappy. And then that woman removes trauma or removes the stress and their face actually changes. Do you see that? I mean, I know you would believe in that.
Well, you'd see that with working with energy, with Reiki. And it's interesting because I get asked a lot, like, what do you do in your treatments? Or what makes your treatments different? And I always say, like, I've called myself the Facelift Facialist because if I called myself, the exorcist, people wouldn't come. But fundamentally, like, you've got to speak to the results they want. But people don't understand when you're working with fascia specifically and through breath and through nervous system work, someone will physically feel better within themselves. And as a result, their face will lift. If everyone's coming in carrying stress or carrying whatever's going on in their life, it's going to weigh them down. When you're able to give them a slice of time and use modalities that will help calibrate their energy, bring them back to their breath, loosen their tissue through nervous system communication and touch, naturally everything is going to relax and their face is going to follow.
I love that. The one thing that I see a lot of when people are like niche down and everyone gets really scared. Did specializing for you, did that feel risky or something that you balked on making the decision to move forward for a while? Or was it just like this ping that came and you just moved quickly?
I think the key word there is moved, or statement is moved quickly. I've always been someone, if it's a hell yes, then that's my lane. And I'm also not someone to be like a generalist. I do teach this in my coaching containers. Like, you can be, if you have, skin needling and waxing and eyebrows and lashes and all these things, people know to go to you for everything but not anything. And if you really want to be in posture of and be known for work that you do, you have to pick a lane. And I really believe in that. So for me, it's also energy. Like, how do I want to spend my time and what does it look like for me to be sharing what it is I know how to do? And I can't spread myself across all those things if I really want to be able to hold this particular space. So for me, it was a no-brainer. And I always trust that when I'm really in posture of that, then the people who need it will find me. And as a result, I booked out months in advance.
And educating on women on how to build these businesses in this industry. Do you find that it's a confidence thing? Like, people have to build that confidence before they move? Or as you said, how do you teach people to just make that decision? Like, this is where finding the confidence is.
Yeah, and this is where I always teach from a practitioner first approach. So explaining to my students that they are the lead nervous system in the treatment, and it's the same in your business. Like, how you do anything is how you do everything. And business is a result of the relationship you have with you. So if you don't have the capacity to hold what you want for your business, then you're just going to circle back to what you've been doing. So I teach from a place of, you need to see it as done and then teach your body to feel safe with actually having that. And that's the practice first. Like, you can dream up your best treatment and you can have all these ideals about how much you want to charge, but if you don't feel safe doing it within your body, and this is where the nervous system work is so powerful, and I start with my students first and then it ripples into their treatments, and the more in posture they can become, the more potent their treatments are.
So when you were founding the Face Hub, what were your personal nervous system tools that you use to step into the identity of already having it?
I just see it as done and then go into action. But I've been doing that for decades. I remember working with Tony Robbins and John DeMartini, and, I've done a lot of work on
I love that.
practicing that. Yeah, and I think if I was to give anyone any advice, it's all good to see it as done and then go into action. But the action is like not mistaking movement for achievement. That's not what I'm saying. It's not just making a lot of noise. It's in the moments where you notice doubt creep in. That's when you have to come back to your breath. That's when you have to come back to your body. And the missing piece for me was always embodiment work. I've trained as a life coach. I'm an NLP practitioner, and I know how to do all the mindset stuff. But the body was the part that was missing for me. So when I certified as a breathwork facilitator, that for me was a game changer, because I was able to come back to myself when I noticed doubt creep in. And the thing with sabotage and self-doubt and all those things that stop us from moving forward, it doesn't start in the head, it starts in the body, and then we attach story. So teaching someone to witness the story but come back to their body, that's essentially the tools I use. And I also just remind myself that it doesn't matter. Like, just do the thing. Like, I remember saying on another podcast that I've always circled back to, we're going to die one day. Yeah. We're not here for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I tend to, and I learned this from Tony, like zoom out. Like when you're in the thick of your own self-doubt, when you're in the thick of like, oh, what if this happens or what if that happens, zoom really far out, like back to starseed and look down. And just remember that it's not a big deal. Just take the little steps. Come back to your breath. Just do the little things. I think as well, people try and do too many things too quickly. And it's like, celebrating the little wins and recognizing when you've shifted the needle just that little bit.
Yeah. And it also goes to when you have these big dreams and goals and you just want to get there, but you forget that the goal is just the first step. The journey is in recognizing how your body is responding and reacting and telling stories and shedding and leading and finding courage and, feeling guilt about something. Like that's the journey, isn't it? And it's like no matter what industry you're in.
Yeah. I think running a business is the most vulnerable thing anyone could ever do, because I've done a lot of personal development, but nothing has stretched me like running a business.
Yeah.
And putting yourself out there.
They liken entrepreneurship to literally being in a relationship. It's like it's constant.
Yeah, right.
Not so much.
Well, it is
24/7. Sorry?
It is 24/7.
24/7 checking in with yourself and what you want and how you're responding. But do you have like a daily practice or little rituals that you do or something that you commit to make sure that you're staying sort of settled and inspired? Because you wear so many hats, from, doing your beautiful, Face Hub to educator, global educator, I should say.
Yeah. There's a part of me that would love to answer that and give you some beautifully curated response that, I get up in the morning and I take, I do 10 minutes of breath work, and then I go on my vibration platform, and then I have a matcha in the backyard, and then I have a sauna. But I don't. And I think that's something that's like over glorified and almost weaponized. Like if you're going to be successful, you have to be doing these things. Sometimes I wake up and I'm doing the wrong things. I'm like checking my phone straight away and like, sticking my cortisol. But it's called being, excuse my French, fucking human. And sometimes you're going to do the things that spiral you out of control, and other times you're going to be more in control. But what does bring me back is nature. So for me, if I find myself, a little bit amped, a little bit frazzled, a little bit overwhelmed, I'll just come back to nature. And that's where I find myself, I'm able to ground, gather myself. Something about being around animals too, like they just remind you that, they're just like, I hang out with my goats. They're just chewing grass and eating wheat, and they don't care. They'll eat your hair, they'll eat your clothes. And I just like, okay, like nothing, it doesn't really matter. Like just chill out. Just be like a goat.
I'm going to use that one. Be more like a goat. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, be just like a goat. Just eat some grass, shut the fuck up. You'll be right. Like it doesn't matter.
I actually love watching your Instagram for that reason. Like you're so open and honest and vulnerable, and it's almost like this is me. If you don't like it, fuck off or come at me. But But like, this is me. And I've really loved watching all that, because I think that's one thing that we're really lacking in this world at the moment with AI and coaches and the cookie
Oh, yeah.
cutters and all this shit that's going on. You really do that really well. And I'm sure it still takes a bit of a deep breath sometimes to think, am I really going to do this? Or do you just pick up
Yeah.
your phone and go?
Look, when it comes to showing up online, I have a rule. I always ask for what purpose. And kind of like anything you do, like if you have to force it, it's usually going to be shit, like a
Yeah.
fart. If you have to
Yeah.
force it, it's probably
Yeah.
poo.
Absolutely.
So I tend to, a lot of the time people connect with me because I'll just jump on randomly when I feel called to share. I don't follow algorithm. I don't use hashtags. I don't post at times that are trend, like popular, whatever. I just trust that if it's really wanting to come out of me and I'm in a place to hold it, I will share it, which, makes my husband uncomfortable because I don't have a filter at the best of times. And he's usually the one, picking up the pieces when I'm being trolled. But that's just how it works for me. I'm not a curated person, and I'm going to hold your hand while I say this person either. I'm not that kind of friend. I'm not that kind of wife. Like, I just am and from a place of love and integrity, and I just let it rip usually.
I love it. I love it. And a lot of the stuff that I teach, and I would love to get your opinion on this, is, growth is actually a nervous system capacity navigation, really. It's not just a strategy. With your clients and with your education and when you're helping people grow businesses, do you focus not solely on nervous system, but how heavy is your nervous system focus compared to the strategy?
I would say it's 80-20 because strategy will only work so far. And this is, I guess, my personal approach, but I find the most connected businesses or brands operate from a nervous system perspective over strategy, because strategy will get you to a certain point. But like you said, people want to connect with people. And if you're relying on strategy, you're going to remove the humanness to some degree. I think everything needs a container. Everything needs the masculine thrives with the feminine thrives with the masculine. I think there needs to be a degree of balance. But for me, I use about 20% strategy. And it's more of like a safety net of where I'm going. When you put the things up for bowling, it just kind of makes sure I stay in the lane. But as far as, so majority nervous system work.
And when you're growing and going through all these iterations of what you're creating and doing, is there anything that stands out when it comes to having old versions of you having to die so that you can step into the growth, or step into being the founder, or step into being the educator? Have you noticed anything that you've just had to let go of?
Wow, you've just summarized my January.
What did you have to let go of? I'd love to know.
It's interesting. It wasn't an awareness. It's just been an organic thing where, friendships or connections or things I used to feel like I had to do are just not there anymore. Like, they've naturally fallen away. And I said this in another interview. I feel like I've really taken a seat in myself this year, like posturally. Things that might have frazzled me, and I've been stretched big time from Christmas to now. And I know apparently there's some snake shedding and we're all copping it.
Oh my God, there we go. And the horse.
I don't know, I've had a really big accident on a horse before. That also scares me. But yeah, I just think it's an energetic awareness that I'm in a different posture. And I'm ready for different rooms. I'm ready for different conversations. I'm craving a different level of connection. I've become very acutely aware of where people are inherently selfish and connected with me because of what they can get from me energetically. And I'm very protective of that. This year is very much the theme of people receiving the less accommodating version. And because that's primarily because I'm saving that for my family. Family feels really strong for me this year.
I love that. And for you now, then, coming into this expansion, I'm going to ask you soon, so what that would be. But do you find that now you have this like intuition about what this year could look like and feel like, and you've been shedding the snake. You've been shedding all the things that no longer are serving you. But how do you step into your courage to actually take the next move?
I don't. I just trust that I'm exactly in the energy and timeline that I need to be in. What's meant for me won't miss me. And I know it sounds like I'm saying a lot of things that should probably go on a t-shirt, But it's become a posture. In the past, I mean, Joni in her 20s would have been saying all these things as a coach, working as a life coach, spruiking all these amazing sayings that made people feel alive and feel good. But I hadn't embodied it. Like, I knew how to say it and I knew how to, but now where I'm sitting, I feel like it's a real embodiment piece for me, and I'm actually that person. Yeah. So I don't think it's a matter of courage. I think it's a matter of trust.
Love that. And that comes from building a really, really strong foundation so that you can trust the way to make that move rather than feel like you have to be pushed.
Mm.
Just something that I
Mm.
think gets overlooked a lot in our world. It's like, okay, what action do I take? Which way do I move? But
Yeah.
when you create that
Less doing.
isn't it? When but to
Yeah.
do that, you have to have that strong foundation. You have to know who you are. You have to be proud of yourself. You have to let go of shame and guilt so that you can trust in that direction that you're being pulled rather than sit there second guessing, not being ready,
100%.
making decisions.
Yeah. And anyone listening to me say this, please don't compare where you are now to what I'm saying, because I've journeyed this. It's taken me my story and my experiences and my trials and tribulations for me to be able to sit here and say this about me. So please take it as inspiration and encouragement, but don't compare, because growth is not linear and your own experience is yours to journey. So it's important, and that's where I find sometimes the coaching world particularly will push people. I hate words like live into your potential, and it's like, well, who are we to determine someone's potential and put pressure on them? Like, I divorced the coaching world a long time ago because of this hypnotic language that is fundamentally laced with shaming.
Yeah.
Like, you're not good enough, and it preys on the you're not good enough wound. But then people are mistaking movement for achievement, trying to be good enough, but not doing the actual growth, which is in the moments. It's in the little moments, and it's the meanings we attach to things. So I don't want to be sitting here like I've got it all figured out. I don't. But I'm in a position now where I have gone through enough where I can trust where I am.
Yeah, I love that. So what then
Yeah.
drives you? Let's say, you've got the success. Let's say you've got the money. Let's say you've got, the house, whatever it is, whatever you've worked towards. What would drive you now?
Having all the animals.
Yes.
I just want to farm which I have. But what drives me now is twofold, two-pronged. I don't know, whatever. Being able to have a global reach and impact on this industry, which is already happening. My community is just next level amazing. But being able to do so in a way that allows me time freedom and able to spend time with my family and be on my farm, be with my animals, and do the things that truly bring me back to myself, because when I do that, I've got more to be able to give.
And
So that's my drive.
it feels very mission based when I hear you talk. I'm like that, people say, what's your mission? What's your passion? What's your purpose? Like, I feel like when you're talking, that's really heart led. Like, you've got something that you want to bring to the world.
Yeah, I would definitely say from an archetype, I'm a service, for me, and being able to, I've always worked with women, and I think you'll relate to this. When you can see someone have that aha moment, or that moment where their soul comes back online, that for me is why I love doing what I do. So,
do you ever feel yourself caught in stagnation or indecision?
Yeah, daily, every minute.
And what do you do?
Yeah, I always say to my husband, I'm like, new minute, new me. Like, that was then, this is now. I come back to my body, and that's what I've learned through breath work. And I also trust that, not with everything, but with majority of things, I take the whole, if it's not a fuck yes, then it's a fuck no. And if I'm in real paralysis with something, then maybe I just need to drop it and come back to what's actually meant to happen. Like, I don't believe in force too much, and this comes back to the whole strategy thing. So really feeling into like, well, if it's not feeling like it's going anywhere, maybe it's not meant for me, and I just will zoom out, sit back, and then let it kind of make sense.
So what are you expanding into this year then, if I can ask you that?
I mean, I don't know. I'm waiting for the horse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're not making any decisions now. We're still shedding.
No, I'm expanding into holding spaces in a different way. I definitely feel called to be less in salon with clients and more holding spaces like retreats and like on a bigger level. I'm definitely being called to come away from being on the tools and more in the nurturing space of business and branding and really helping women to achieve what I've achieved inside my own salon. So that would be my expansion this year.
I love that. And a lot of women that I work with, actually, the visibility part and the leadership part, they find really hard. Do you find that with your clients that you're working with? How do you get them to that stage where they feel confident enough or happy to be seen?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many approaches to that, and there's so many layers to why someone would feel uncomfortable showing up. I mean, we could talk about that all day. But when I zoom out and I really chunk it down for them, I share what my mum taught me. And she was coming from a place of humility when she shared this, but like myself, she also doesn't have a filter. So it was as simple as we all have bums and we all poo and we all die.
Good.
So yeah. When I've layered that and when I've really sat with that, it's trusting that we all have a unique purpose. We all have a different way of saying things. And when you show up, you might be saying something that, 20 billion other people have said, but you're saying it with your energy, with your coding, with what you're here to bring, and it will land with who's meant to hear it. And so that's the place I really encourage my students from. Like, firstly, get out of your own way. Get over yourself. You're no more important. We've all got belly buttons. Like, we've all got bums. Like, we're all going to die. So come back to your mission, your purpose, your unique voice. What is it you're here to do? And let's come from this place.
So with that visibility for yourself and the leadership and the beautiful things you want to create this year, is there anything about that scares you? Or do you have to do anything to expand your nervous system again to get to that point? Or you feel like it's like with everything that you've done, you're just ready to go?
I think you never stop having to, increase that window, but it has become a subconscious practice now. I'm not actively doing it. I know how to bring myself back. I know how to retract so I can expand. I honor my cycle, which is hard to do in perimenopause, but that's a whole nother podcast. I try not to work in luteal phase, or at least I try not to create content in luteal phase because I might get cancelled. But yeah, I
I've never thought about it. I've never thought about that. I might have to.
Yeah. I mean, when I'm ovulating and right before, my bleed, probably not a good time to show up. And that's usually when I stay to my groups where I can, long form and use nuance and satire, and it's not going to get, shut down on good old Instagram. But yeah, expansion wise, I think you're just constantly practicing this nervous system support. Once you know how to do it, once you have the embodiment piece, I don't think it's, something. But to what scares me about it, honestly, for me to be able to move into the next expansion of where I want to go, see how many times we can say expansion in one sentence.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that.
You're going to have to do an edit where it's like expansion. Just starting to sound like one of those witchy wankers, like journey, mission and purpose.
Regulation. It's gone from regulation to expansion. I feel like this is the year of expansion.
Yeah, you need to do an edit and make it into a wrap. If I'm truly honest, it's spending less time in salon, which means I'm going to have to let go of community and my clients to a degree in order to build that side. So that, I wouldn't say it's scary. It's sad because I love my salon. I love the space I've created. I love my clients. But for me to be able to do what I'm truly here to do, I need to step aside from that and allow my energy elsewhere.
So when you did start in this industry, did you identify as, were you an overworker, or did you put yourself into burnout, or how did you originally show up before you started to do all this work with your nervous system and give yourself tools?
God, I don't know. Probably an overworker. Yeah, I would. And this is the love-hate relationship that a lot of people have with the beauty industry. I've worked in every facet of the beauty industry. I think at one stage I was bleaching bum holes. That's how I got really good at doing eyebrows and then coming back to this space. But yeah, I don't know, to be honest.
It's just crazy the whole way through. You've just followed your heart.
Yeah, I would.
Things, done the growth. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know. I've just always worked. I've worked since I was 14. I don't know, 14, 9 months, whatever I would say I'm just a general hard worker, which is probably missing and what I'm wanting to bring back to the space. But I've always had a good work ethic, and I learnt really quickly that I'm probably not designed to work for anyone else. So I've had my business for, I don't know, since I was 27. So I'm 42 now, but I've worked, probably before that, probably in my 20s, I had my first ever brow business.
So if there's a woman listening to this and she is thinking about growing and moving maybe into her own business or maybe learning a new skill to incorporate into her salon, what would you be saying to her?
I will first say having your own business isn't for everyone. I think it's really important. Yeah, I think especially when you spend time online, there's a lot of pressure around like working for yourself and having your own brand and, having your own identity. But some people are architecturally better designed to work with and for others. And that's okay. I think you can still achieve goals and, financially, spiritually, mentally, emotionally in the container of working for someone else. So I think we need to take the whole being your own boss off the pedestal a little bit, because it does ostracize people from feeling like they can achieve a lot without, they feel like they have to be their own something in order to be successful, which is simply not the case, because success is individually defined for starters. But if you were someone that wanted to go into your own business and firstly figure out why, come back to why. Is it because you want to impress, social media? Like you want all the aesthetics? And I see this all the time, and it's why so many businesses in the first, 2 years or less go under, because, especially now with social media, everyone wants the pretty salon and the aesthetic, vibes. So they have this huge outlay, and then they're chasing their ass for the first 3 years trying to make that investment back. And it's like, well, so for what purpose are you doing anything? I think that is what I would encourage someone to ask. And then don't bite off more than you can chew. I know that sometimes people say my husband says this, bite off more than you can chew and chew like fuck. It applies sometimes, but if it's going to put you in a state of stress or, you're not making money, fundamentally, why? For what purpose? And that's how I approach most things. What are you doing this for? Is it ego? Is it actually getting you to where you want to go? You're doing it to impress your friends? What?
You're doing it to make lots of money, because even that we know driver is well, who would you be with that money?
Which is fine. Yeah. And the more money you make comes with more responsibility. So let's not glorify that. And it also comes with a lot more nervous system work. You have to be able to hold the money you want to make. So I would ask, for what purpose and why is that your purpose? Really get clear.
And this is why the work that you do and even the work that I do is so important, because if we cannot be regulated, if we cannot be in our purpose, if we don't know who we are, if we don't know why we're doing it, if we don't know what our authentic end goal is, not the end goal that is going to need the validation, then this is where the walls break down. And I say, and you can't actually build a house on a pile of sand. You have to have that solid concrete. Unless you're an ant, unless you're a very, very clever ant. But then ants don't have mobile phones. They don't have shotguns.
They have antennas.
And they get squashed really easily.
Correct. I think it's important to say too, purpose will change. Your why will change. My purpose initially in my 20s was I worked for myself because I didn't want to work for someone else. I didn't want to be told what to do. I didn't want to be able to have to ask to go on a holiday. I didn't want someone else determining my income. So that was my why. Why do you want to work for yourself, Joni? Because I don't want to work for someone else. That was simple. It was clear. And along the way, I developed my mission. Along the way, I developed my purpose. But it was because I was developing me. And the more rounded out I could become, the clearer my path made sense. That's why this has happened. That's why this has happened. Everything's a lesson. But it's important to understand that everyone chases a purpose, and sometimes that can be a little bit of bypassing. They use it as a phrase, but they're not anchored in it. They have no idea. And if your purpose is simply because you want to make money so that you can, I don't know, whatever, that's fine. It's totally fine. But then make sure you're anchoring into integrity in the process.
Yeah. The why. Why do you why? Why do you want
Why do you
want to travel?
Yeah.
Why do you want to drop?
And I think coming from, and I learnt this in the coaching space, when you come from contribution and growth and not, significance, then you're on a good thing. But when you find yourself slipping into that significance, like it's because I want to prove it to my parents, or I want to prove it to my friends, or I want to look good on Instagram, or I want 1 million followers, that's significance based and that will burn you out. But if you can come from the truth of what is your growth, what is your contribution, like for me, it's being able to contribute to giving my time to my family and giving my time to my community. So I need to make really good money to be able to do that. So that's why I'm sharing top-notch trainings, making them global, making massive impact so that I can make that money to give me the time freedom and the ability to do what it is I want.
I love that. And I know we've mentioned the coaching industry before, but I do want to ask you, how important do you think in this day and age it is that our leaders, mentors, say coaches or educators like yourself, are embodied in what they do?
I think people are craving truth and craving authenticity, not like in the way people, and it's interesting, I've been sitting with like this thought for the last couple of days, and I'm sure I'll speak to it online at some stage. But there's so many people rocking around, dressing up their wounds as a hero's journey. And I think the hero's journey needs to die. We're all sick of it. People want authenticity in the moment. And that doesn't mean over glorifying what you've been through. It means just showing up and sharing from a place of like integrity, and yourself, your own beliefs. And this is where sometimes it's hard to do that online because that takes long form and, nuance and opinion. It's not always supported. So I think authenticity especially in the coaching space, has been dressed up as I used to be here, but now I'm here, and nobody cares anymore. Nobody wants that anymore. Like we're sick of hearing it. We do want authenticity, but it needs to be undressed and come out authentic. Authentic needs to come back to being authentic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I want to make $20,000 months. Come and I'll show you how. How do you show me? Like, how does
that's
it even
not important. I think, and I think if there were leaders to be embodied, you got to meet people where they're at. Stop throwing money around like people give a shit. Talk about why they would want that, or why. Find out why. I think we need to be a bit more curious with connecting with people. We've just made these assumptions about what people want, and what people actually want is the connection. They want to feel safe in doing the mundane as well. It's okay if you're not doing all the things to make yourself well. Like if you don't wear mouth tape or, some weird strip over your nose to sleep, that's okay. You're still winning at life.
Do you not wear mouth tape and a nose strip?
Like, like if you don't have a sauna and you're not on a vibration plate and you're not wearing an LED, like you're still okay. You're still winning. So I think that's what authenticity needs to be brought back to. Not all this dressed up, BS about how much money you can make and how you should be humaning. I think our leaders are slowly going to be humbled and brought back to that place.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I'm just thinking the last couple of weeks I've just unfollowed so many people on Instagram that don't actually inspire me, that don't make me wake up and go, oh, that's inspiring. They're embodied, or they're making me feel like I can achieve something, because there's just a lot of shit.
People talking about themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Which is fine if you're being transparent and you're being like relatable. But if you're just pedestaling yourself, I think there needs to, everything comes full circle, and I think leadership will do that.
Yeah, I love
some
that.
degree.
All right, I want to fire a couple of questions off at you. You've got a young woman listening into this episode, and she's like, I want to become a beautician, or I want to become a facialist. What do you say to her?
Go back to uni. Listen to your parents. Don't wag school. Don't date that boyfriend and drop all your inhibitions to like move in with him and travel the world. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, are you describing your life here?
Yeah, but I'm like also not kidding.
But they want to be like you. You're inspiring.
I always say I didn't choose the beauty life. The beauty life chose me, mainly because I didn't get into university because I wagged school and I didn't pay attention. But I also didn't get diagnosed as dyslexic till year 10. So school and I didn't have a great relationship. But if someone genuinely, and this is the thing with the new age beauticians, I think they're actively going into wanting to study beauty. And I feel like, I say this with love and appreciation for my generation of beauty therapists, but I feel like we were kind of like beauty school dropouts. Like that's where we went. Society was like, well, you're going to have to wax vaginas because you didn't pay attention at school. right?
Perfect.
So, but as a result, we were like, because we were such pirates and rebels, we were the generation that were hands-on and really invested in the treatments. And also we didn't have all the machines. We didn't have all the fancy whatevers. So we're a different breed. So if I was speaking to someone now going into beauty school, they're going into a totally different stream. But I would circle back to, for what purpose? I definitely know when I was teaching the beauty therapy diploma, the government had just started subsidizing the course. So I had an influx of, 16 to 20-year-olds coming in, and they were like, I don't really like feet. Do I have to do pedicures? And I'm like, yeah, doll, you have to cut people's toenails. Like, yeah.
We do breed
You
them.
have to run the
Yeah.
risk of cutting that toenail and it flicking up and sticking to your lip gloss. That's the life you live now. That may or may not have happened.
Everything getting caught
But
under your long nails.
yeah, you're gonna have to look at people's pubes and rip them out. Like there is no, when you study beauty, it's not like you go straight to facials. Like you gotta do it's a rite of passage, And the general public that you're training on aren't always the cleanest. I'll just give you that much.
I'm having so many visuals right now.
I feel like, yeah, beauty therapy is like the army of the trades world. You got to go through the thick of it.
Okay,
You got to learn how to be a
next question.
therapist. Anyway, beauty therapy traumatized me. Can you tell?
Oh, yeah.
No, so I would just say go for it, babe. Have fun. It's going to be a really great self-development process for you.
Cut your nails. Try not to wear lip gloss and tie your hair up.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, well, this is actually what I would tell them. Like this new age facialists that are coming through with these long nails and the hair down. It's like, doll, it's not about you. It's about your client. Trim the nails. Like if I have to have these stumpies, so do you. And get your hair off your face. Get your hair off your client. Like sort your shit. Like you have to look the part. And the part is tidy and clean. And I feel like the industry's lost its way there a little bit. But don't worry, I'm here. I'll bring it back.
I love that. So next question. What do most people misunderstand about aging skin?
I like this question. A lot of people are misled. I wouldn't say they misunderstand because that would imply that people have awareness around how skin is structured and what's actually lifting, our skin, which isn't the case. And that's why they rely on the beauty industry. And then the beauty industry misleads people in making them think that they need serums and potions and, lasers and all the things, when in fact they need awareness that the skin is telling a story from within. It's a report card. And aging skin is going to be impacted by stress and nervous system, lifestyle, genetics, because what holds our skin up is fascia, our connective tissue. And if our body is stressed and we're not breathing right, it's going to impact our tissue integrity. And that's where our collagen is stored. And after the age of 30, we stop producing it. So we have to support the integrity of the collagen we have. And that can only be done from within and through massage, through, awareness that breath is impacting our skin. It's impacting our digestion. Stress is impacting it. Lifestyle is impacting it. There's so many variables and you can't just walk into a salon and go laser me and slap some collagen serum on and now I'm all good. So it's an inside job as much as it is an outside one.
So how do you look after, or what are your rituals with your inside world then? And instead of the outside world? Like, are there things that you take?
Yeah, awesome. Great question. And I always say this to people because they're like, oh my God, your skin's so good. How do I get my skin like yours? And I was like, you are not prepared. Most people will not do the things I do. And that's fine. I get it. But then don't ask to have skin like this. It's a full-time job. So, well, firstly, I'd like to thank genetics because I've never had problematic skin in the sense I've never had acne, or rosacea or a compromised barrier. So let's just start with that. So I've already got that on my side. I don't put my face in the sun. I wear 50 plus every single day. Saunas, although studies are now saying that saunas will age your skin faster. So that's interesting. But sauna from a detoxing perspective, facial cupping, intuitive fascia rolling. That's been non-negotiable. Breath work, but diet, eat a very Mediterranean anti-inflammatory diet and skincare.
I love that. Do you do your own fascia release on yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on face taping?
Look, I dabbled in face taping. I remember when I was about 12, my auntie, who probably inspired me a lot to get into the beauty industry subconsciously, I wasn't aware of it at the time, but she used to tape her face. And I just thought she was weird. And then it's made a resurgence. Everything does that. And so it's like tramp stamps are coming back in.
No,
So
they are not.
yeah,
Are they?
tramp stamp and belly button rings are making a resurgence. And I'm
I know
like,
the
oh,
belly
great,
button
I'm cool
ring.
again.
My daughter has begged for one for 2 years. And I said when she's 16,
Oh, come on.
on her birthday. Yeah, they're
Yes.
definitely back. Tramp
Yeah,
stamps,
they're coming. Yeah, I know. I'm like, I can give you a reason not to get one. But anyway, I won't show you on this podcast. Nobody needs to see that. But everything makes a resurgence at the end of the day. So face tape, I feel like, is doing that. It's fizzled off a little bit. But I think it comes down to taping along the natural lines, like of the face, but also the kind of tape you're using. I think you want to be using like a silicone-based tape that is designed to help like with scarring, to stimulate that collagen synthesis and re-knitting. But then the other side of that is you're absorbing silicone. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. It's always a this or that, isn't it?
But at the end of the day, all you're doing is stopping the expression from happening. And after a while, the collagen fibers can fluff back up. So it's doing what Botox is doing, just without injecting the Botox.
Yeah.
But as soon as you take the tape off, you're back to movement. So you might get that replenishment overnight and that ability for, it's kind of like fluffing up a doona, but then it's just going to go back to movement.
Okay.
And if you're a super animated person like me, then my face talks by itself, which is a problem sometimes.
Mine too. What would you do with my face? No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to go there. Is it that? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Okay, last question, because I have a lot of my audience who are entrepreneurs and businesswomen wanting to scale their businesses and wanting to be visible and lead. What is probably the biggest lesson that you've learned as an entrepreneur, doing all the incredible things that you've done? What is one of the biggest lessons that you've learned along the way? Or do you have a standard or a guiding rule that you live by?
Yes. I need to think about this one. I would say if you're going to run an online business, there's obviously things you need to get into place. Do your research and get multiple opinions, because with the online space, people offer you the world. And when I was setting up like my sales funnels and stuff like that, I think some people just take the piss. So yeah, I definitely subscribe to who, not how, because you should be able to stay in your genius zone and not take on things that are going to pull you away from that. In saying that, though, I think it's important to have your finger on the pulse and understand how things need to be set up so that you can ask educated questions when people are promising you the world. Yeah. So that's been my lesson. I've spent like probably over $20,000 trying to set my business up, from website to funnels to, all that jazz. And I've had to switch providers mid-development because they just weren't meeting my needs, even though they promised me the world. So that's the advice I'd give. Like, have your finger on the pulse, know exactly what it is you want to achieve, and ask the right quality questions before you bring someone on in your business.
Love that. It's a big lesson in self-leadership. Big lesson. So where can anyone listening to this, where can they find you?
I don't know. I'm a little bit like, where's Wally at the moment?
Instagram.
Instagram, I was going to say. I was like, in salon, not in salon. Yeah, just on my Instagram page, Joni _ the Facelift Facialist. It's a bit of a mouthful, but if you're meant to find me, you will.
And of course, I'll link it below. But I've got one more question. What is the thing that you love most about your job or what you do?
Knowing that I'm having an impact on someone on a real energetic soul level, whether it be in the business coaching containers or in salon with my clients. It's knowing that I've made an impact for that person in that moment.
Oh, I love that. What a way to end. That is so beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on. I've loved this.
Loved it.
You've inspired me now.
We definitely, we're meeting here, but I feel like, it's time. We need to have a coffee, matcha, spicy margarita, whatever floats your boat.
I was going to say the spicy sounds amazing. Yes, that's
yeah. I don't know where. I'll just put that last and see what she picks up.
No, go try it.
But I really
first.
Spicy margarita.
It's like authenticity. Like, just put the thing that you love most the first.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Love it, love
I
it.
definitely don't like matcha, but I'm like, is she a matcha person? We'll go for C.
I haven't decided yet. I'm glad the jury's out on that for me. I'm definitely love my
It tastes
coffee.
like fish swamp. It's gross.
Does taste grassy. Yeah, agreed. All
Yeah.
right, spicy margarita
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, done. It's my
Gorgeous.
girl.
I will see you hopefully for that spicy margarita soon.
Yes, we'll be in touch.
See you. Bye.
Thanks, Gore. Bye.